Praise Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakakadash. It's all praise to the Heavenly Father. His true name in the Hebrew is Yahweh, and his son's name, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Real name in the Hebrew is Yahweh Shah. Also give a praise, honor, and glory unto the Rakakadash, which is the force and entity that makes this edification possible. I'll say Shalom to all you sincere-hearted Akim wa Akwat. That's you brothers and sisters that make your bodies a living sacrifice on a daily basis in this wicked and adulterous generation. I also want to give double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us truth and who rule well. And this morning, just want to briefly touch into, removing the leaven, out of our homes, and not necessarily your physical home, but more so your spiritual home, your body, this temple, your mind, right? And what sparked this lesson is I was speaking with Brother Gabar, last night, and he was just, speaking about, man, we got to be more serious about this truth. All the brothers, we are serious, but you can never be, serious enough, sincere enough, amping up your fear in your Yahweh Shah, amping up your faith, your prayer life, your works, right? And as a matter of fact, the brother had showed me the definition of fear. I mean, not fear, but serious, right? And I was just looking over it. And one thing that stuck out to me was this word application. We'll just read the definition. It says series of a state, of a subject, state, or activity demanding careful consideration or application. And we're in times, man, to where you should carefully consider even more, these prophecies, every word that's written down, in the Bible, man, seeing that, all these things are truly coming to pass, your mind should be fixated upon that more than ever, right? And also says application, right? And that's the main part that I want to dive into today. Application goes into what? It says the action of putting something into operation. The action of putting something on a surface. Yeah. Putting something into operation. This is the time to where you should be, really, you should have been, putting all these things into action, right? But this is time to really be doers of the word, especially, man, not deceiving your own selves. As a matter of fact, we'll start with that in James 1 in verse 22, and this is a simple milk lesson, but this is something that you can never get enough of. We all need to be reminded to, be even more astute, if you will, in this word. Be more serious about this word, seeing that all these things are about to be, absolved, right? As 2 Peter the 3rd chapter says, it says, what manner of person shall you be in all holy conversation? Now, word conversation goes to what? Conduct. And how should you be conducting yourselves as doers of the word? That's you literally fulfilling the law, you doing the works of the law, right? As you have some, Israelite groups, they boast about keeping the law, 100%. Well, this whole book is law, man. It comes from the mouth of a king. Yahweh Shah, right? This is James 1:21. It says, lay apart. Salakia, wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity. Salakia, give me 1 second. Salakia. Salakia. All right, I'm back. It's James 1:21. It says, wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. Let's go to this word superfluity. Superfluity. The residue remains, the wickedness remaining over in a hamashiachim, right? From his state prior to conversion. Hamashiachim is somebody that follows Yahweh Shah, Hamashiach, which can only be Israelites, right? But it says the wickedness remaining over in a Hamashiachim from his state prior to conversion. So basically that old man, right? Old man, being more serious in this truth, right? You're removing out, you're examining yourself to make sure that you don't have any residue of the old man or that leaven inside of you, right? Because Yahweh Shema Shah, right? If he finds any leaven, amongst the body, he will uproot it out, man, pursuant to what, 1 Corinthians, the 5th chapter, right? And Paul was given a order to the Corinth church at that time. If you have, individual, he's not abiding by these standards, get that nigga out of your congregation, right? He's leaven, right? He's superfluous. He's bringing in that worldly mentality, Babylonian customs, if you will, that mindset, Hellenistic mindset, right? And that is not the way of Yahweh Shema Shah. We should be putting on the new man, which is what? Really going back to the ancient past, pursuant to Jeremiah 6:16, wherein is the good way, right? And that's why Yahweh Shema Shah is about to put us through, this refining process. He's going to crank up, because we already in it, but he's going to crank it up, to his max, man. In the time of Jacob's trouble, which is shortly to come, right? What he's doing, he's purging away all this leaven, all this Babylonian Hellenistic, customs and mindsets, up out of us, man, and conforming us into his image, to his son's image, Yahweh Shah. Says, wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word. And engrafted means something that was already inside of you, right? This word was already inside of us. It just had to have been drawn out of us, which is the true definition of that word, educate, right? Once the elect were educated, basically what was already inside of them, that love for Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, that faith in him, was drawn out. Well, the way you draw it out, you get rid, of the old man, and you receive it with meekness, right? Humbleness of mind, pursuant to what Colossians the 3rd chapter, put it on therefore as the elect, humbleness of mind, bowels of mercy, right? It says, which is able to save your souls. So this truth, right, is a bridge into our salvation, right? And this is why we ought to give the more earnest heed, to the things which we have heard. James 1:22, but be ye doers of the word. See, and that goes into the definition that we got earlier from application, the action of putting something into operation. Because we understand that, as a matter of fact, let me grab this real quick. In Romans the 10th chapter, it's important to hear this word, because that is how faith comes. Let's grab that real quick. So I could give me 1 second. All right, this is Romans 10 and verse 14. How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him or have faith in him of whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? So let's see. Oh, verse 17, main point. So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of Yahweh. So, listening to, videos, listening to the apostles and elders, listening to wise counsel from, brothers that you may hold count with. That's a beautiful thing. That boosts up your faith. But it doesn't just stop with you listening. It goes far above, you listening. The reason why Yahweh Shema Shah has set up, this means and avenues of us, to various forms of avenues for us to listen to this word, is for us to apply it. Everything that happens in our life, on a daily basis, whether it may be something on your job, relationship, you dealing with your kids or whatever it may be, you should, every opportunity in those scenarios that Yahweh Shema Shah has set up in your life, those are opportunities for you that he has set up for you to apply what you have been listening to. See, and if now's the time to, if you haven't been doing it now, to make sure that you're paying attention to, how you're reacting to these scenarios that you're going through in life right now. You know, don't just expect, you know, when all hell breaks loose and you in Jacob's trouble, that's when you're gonna be calling precepts to mind. And no, it starts now. It starts now. Yeah, during this grace period is basically a practice season. You know, this is practice season, man. Jacob's trouble's game day. You know, practice season, man, you treat it just like it is game day. So once game day does come, you know, it's not going to be as bad. It's still going to, you know, Jacob's trouble's still going to be hell, man. You know, he says in Jeremiah the 30th chapter and Daniel 12:1, a time of trouble such as never was since there's a nation. You know, so it's still going to be bad, but, you know, you can build up a shield or a fort, you know, over your mind by, you know, and getting accustomed to actually being doers, being more serious with this word right now. You know, and the grace period is almost up, man. Grace period is almost up, man. We see, you know, Esau moving in quicker with his CBDC, you know, central bank digital currency, right? It's no longer in the shadows of talkings. Now it's in the forefront of CNN News, right? That term, Great Reset, is no longer lurking in the shadows. It's right up in your face. Everybody's talking about the Great Reset, right? World War III, you know, it's no longer a mystery anymore. Well, does the Bible speak about this? No, everybody's clearly seeing, yeah, World War III is here, you know? So once again, what manner of persons ought you be in all holy conversation, right? Being doers of the word. So let's go back. James 1 and verse 22, but be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, right? Not hearers only. So it's good to hear, but don't just let it stop there. You got to do it. It says deceiving your own selves, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're just, you know, listening to video after video, you can listen to 10 videos in a day, you know, and then the second you catch hell in life, you shrivel up. You deceived yourself. You thought you was good, but you really wasn't, because you weren't, you know, applying those things that you were listening to. You know, I don't, you know, me personally, I don't make these videos to just, you know, to try to sound good or get behind a camera to see myself or for others to see. No. And other brothers, you know, that's in the same sincere mindset, they don't do it either, you know, for those reasons. They do it, you know, for the hopeful elect to listen to these things and get sealed, you know, to actually be doers of these things, right? You don't want to deceive yourself. And as a matter of fact, that's what, let's see, I guess I'll get that real quick. Luke 12:1, this is one part of the reason why Yahushua had beef with those wicked scribes and Pharisees, man, because they were hypocrites. This is Luke 12:1. In the meantime, when there were gathered together an innumerable multitude of people, insomuch that they trolled one upon another, he began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees. See, leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is leaven, man. And hypocrisy, let's go into that word real quick. Hypocrisy.
Strong's G 5272. Hypocrisies.
All right. Says the acting of a stage player. Stage player. Down here says deceit. All right. You're acting the part. All right. You're acting the part, just like an actor in a movie. All right. Like Denzel, you know, he may be acting a particular, you know, character, whatnot, but that's not actually him in real life. See, but in the movie it is. See, in the movie it is. It's just, you know, he's just acting a part. But see, if you come to this truth, you know, with the mindset of just, you know, just wanting to listen to, you know, all these different groups, and you just hearing all these words, but you're not discerning, you're not applying, you know, the scriptures, you know, in your own life, you're an actor. You're playing the part. As a matter of fact, let's grab that real quick in Titus 1, verse 16. They profess that they know Yahweh, but in works they deny him. See, so you profess that you know him, you know. Yeah, I love you, how about Shema Shah? You know, Shalom, you know. They profess that they know Yahweh, but in works they deny him when it's time to really do what he tells you to do. You know, go out to the highways and byways, bid them to the marriage. You know, be instant in season, out of season. Make your body a living sacrifice. You know, be charitable, honor the brotherhood, love the king. All right. So you don't want to deny him in works. It says being abominable and disobedient and unto every good work, reprobate. See, and you go into that word reprobate, it means void of judgment. Conscience seared with the hot iron. Now there was 9 the power thereof. Let me get that real quick. Second Timothy 3 and verse 5. Having a form of godliness, right, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. That's a hypocrite. You have on a costume, right? You may have on your fringes, or you may have a Bible and an apocrypha, right, or a garment, right? You may look the part. You got your beard growing out, right? Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. And how are you deny the power? From not applying the scriptures. It says from such turn away, right? Why? Because those are spots in your feast of charity. Those men are leaven. They're leaven, and that's why 1 Corinthians 5th chapter, you know, Paul was speaking into the church, you know, to get those particular individuals out, because leaven spreads. It's infectious, if you will. It's like cancer, you know. And I got you know, some wise counsel from, you know, an elder and 2 brothers, you know, just this past week. And you know, I had brought a certain situation to them, you know, just to get some counseling. You know, they basically told me to stay away from a particular individual, you know, because, you know, his energy, his mindset, those demons that's on him can hop up on me, you know. And that's another thing, you know, use, you know, this brotherhood that Yahweh Shema Shah has set up, you know, for your advantage, you know, for, you know, use, you know, that's a tool in the toolbox, man. You know, so we all can, you know, so the hopefully elect, you know, can benefit from these things, and that helps us to you know, get the hell up out of here, man. That's one of many different tools in the tool bag that Yahweh Shema Shah has blessed us with. It's the brotherhood, you know, and I went a while without that. You know, it was just the Lord testing my sincerity. All right. So, you know, and you brothers, you know, you may be tested, you know, from you know, being lonely or whatnot in this truth. Just understand, man, it's just a test, but at the end of the day, you're still lonely to some degree, right? Because this is, you know, every man, you know, you're working out your own salvation with fear and trembling. We're all going to have our own Garden of Gethsemane moment, just like Yahweh Shah. His disciples fell asleep, and it was it was just him and the Father, man. He was wrestling in the spirit. He was sweating blood, you know. But we still have a form of relief right now, you know, by the form of this brotherhood. So use that, you know, use that. That's also being a doer of the word. So let's go back to James 1 and 22. But be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. So it's like you're looking in a mirror, right? You're looking at your face in the mirror. It says, for he beholdeth himself. So you're looking at yourself and goeth his way, right? And now you're gone, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. Now you forgot what you look like. Well, that's the same way how it is for an individual to hear, you know, the doctrine, but they're not applying it. As a matter of fact, let's grab that in NLT. James 1 and 22 in NLT. But don't just listen to Yahweh's word. You must do what it says. Otherwise, you are only fooling yourselves. Yeah, you ain't fooling the Most High. He already knows. He already knows what your true mindset is. He already knows what you're going to do. All right. It says, for if you listen to the word and don't obey it, it is like glancing at your face in the mirror. You see yourself, you walk away and forget what you look like. See? And what a waste that would be, man. What a waste that would be. Here it is. You spent all these listening hours, all these, listening to the word, and it benefited you not. What's the point of having a mirror if you're gonna if you still don't know what you look like? That's a waste. You could have been doing something else with your life, man. Verse 25, it says, but if you look carefully into the perfect law that sets you free, which is his word, and if you do what it says and don't forget what you heard, then Yahweh will bless you for doing it. See, you're going to get blessed for being doers of this word, man. All right. As it says in James, the 2nd chapter, it says, one may say that I have faith, and another may say that I have works. He says, show me thy faith. As a matter of fact, let's just get there real quick. Those two. And 20. Where is that? James 2:17. Even so, faith, if it have not works, is dead, being alone. So you can have faith, and once again, how's faith come? By hearing. All right. So you hear, you're Israelite, you hear about the kingdom. All right. You may have faith within it, but if you don't work, if you don't do what this book says, it says your faith is dead, being alone. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. See, because ultimately that's how you know that you have faith, when you're actually out there doing it. You standing in 15-degree weather and it's snowing outside. It's like, dang, man, I must truly believe in this thing, But if you talking the talk, but you ain't, you're not walking the walk, all right, well, you're deceiving yourself. That's a hypocrite, man. The Lord does not take to hypocrites kindly at all. As a matter of fact, let's grab this real quick in Romans chapter 2 and verse 13. For merely, and this is NLT, says, for merely listening to the law doesn't make us right with the Most High. It is obeying the law that makes us right in his sight. Once again, this law is this book in its entirety, man. This whole role, this doctrine. Obeying it is what makes us right in his sight. Right, of course, through faith, right, in Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. Right, it says, let's skip down here to verse 17. You who call yourselves Jews are relying on Yahweh's law, and you boast about your special relationship with him. Yeah, because Paul was speaking about those Pharisees that was just law, and they were relying upon righteousness, or works of their righteousness to make them right, with the Most High. It says, you know what he wants, what is right, because you have been taught his law. You're convinced that you are a guide for the blind and a light for people who are lost in darkness. You think you can instruct the ignorant and teach children the ways of Yahweh. For you are certain that Yahweh's laws give you complete knowledge and truth. Well then, if you teach others, why don't you teach yourselves? See, you tell others not to steal, but do you steal? You say it is wrong to commit adultery, but do you commit adultery? You condemn idolatry, but do you use items stolen from pagan temples? See? So that, in other words, Paul was getting on the hypocrisy, man. All right. They were speaking about, things out of the law, adultery, sacrilege, worshiping of idols. Right. But they themselves weren't doing it. This is Sirach 37 and verse 19. There is one that is wise and teacheth many, and yet is unprofitable unto himself. Why? Because he has a form of godliness, right? He has wisdom with his words, right? But he's not benefiting himself, because he's not doing what it says. And that is the definition of leaven. And once again, this is just a quick word of exhortation, and a reminder, to make sure, man, especially in this season, that we're in, the Passover season, man, to man, if you have any doubts, if you're lacking, if you're not, working the works, that Yahweh Shema Shah has commanded us to do, you got to square up, man. Got to get right, so you don't be taken up out of the lump, out of the dough, out of the body. So let's get this real quick in Matthew 7. Let's see. Matthew 7:21. As a matter of fact, let's start at verse 19. So like it. Every tree, right? And it's tree. Let's get this in Mark, the 8th chapter. He's not talking about an actual tree. Where's that at? Mark 8 and 24. And he looked up and said, I see men as trees walking. All right, so these trees are men, person. So every tree or every man that bringeth not forth good fruit, and that fruit is basically your works, right? It says it's hewn down and cast into the fire. So if you don't work out this faith, right, you're going to be hewn down and cast into the fire. You're going to die the second death. You're going to die right along with Esau by Russian nukes, Chinese nukes, Iranian nukes. It says, wherefore by their fruits you shall know them. So by your works, you're going to know what type of man, you are and other people are. It says, not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, Adawan, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth, or apply, right? You being serious about this thing. He that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. Many will say to me in that day, Adawan, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, and in thy name have done many wonderful works? You may have been out there in the street corners, prophesying, for years, debating Christians, helping to seal the elect, but yet you were unprofitable unto yourself because you weren't doing the will of Yahweh Shema Shah. Verse 23, and then I will profess unto them, this is Yahweh Shah speaking, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. See, they weren't working the works of Yahweh Shema Shah. They were working iniquity. They were being deceitful. They weren't truly serious about this thing. Let's get Matthew 7:24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them. What did James say? Let's get that one more time in James 1:22. But be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Matthew 7:24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man. See, you're wise, man. Why? Because at the end of the day, the reason why you're hearing these things and you're doing them is because you ultimately fear Yahweh Shema Shah. Let's grab that in Proverbs 9 and verse 10. The fear of Yahweh is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. Let's go back to Matthew 7:24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man, because you fear, which built his house upon a rock. Right? And why did when you consider Noah, when he built the ark, Hebrews 11th chapter says he was moved by fear. He was moved by wisdom. It was that wisdom, man, that had him to build that ark. And scriptures tell you, and I want to say Proverbs 24th chapter, that wisdom buildeth her house. And when wisdom, and it had hewn up 7 pillars, which means a complete foundation. It's going to be unmovable, man. It's all done through wisdom. And Paul tells in 1 Corinthians 3rd chapter, take heed therefore unto how you build, because everybody's works, everybody's building is about to be made, manifest, on, how it's built, but your foundation should be upon what? Yahweh Shah first and foremost, and the prophets and the apostles, man. It says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I would liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock, and the rain descended, right? Those nukes. Wisdom Solomon 16:16. It's going to be strange rains, right? It's going to rain fire and brimstone this time in the form of ICBM missiles and hypersonic missiles. The rain descended and the floods came. Esau's coming in like a flood, and also the lake of fire. All right, it says, and the winds blew, that destruction wind, right? That's being held back right now for the elect's sake. It says, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock. That's the house of David right there, right? Because he told Peter, that the gates of hell will not prevail against thee. Verse 26, and everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which built his house upon the sand. Just like those foolish virgins in Matthew the 25th chapter, right? They didn't carry enough oil with them. Well, they didn't carry any oil. They were just thinking about the moment. They're not thinking about the time when the oil is going to run low. They didn't carry extra, man. They're foolish. It says, and the rain descended and the floods came and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell, and great was the fall of it. Just like Babylon the Great. It says, and it came to pass when Yahweh Shah had ended these sayings, the people were astonished at his doctrine, for he taught them as one having authority and not as the scribes. Yeah, because he's a king, man. And where the word of a king is, Ecclesiastes 8:4, where the word of a king is, there is power. And who may say unto him, what doest thou? So, these were powerful words that Yahweh Shah has spoken, and they're speaking louder and louder and more clearer and clearer in these times, man. So I just want to exhort, comfort, and edify, the hopeful elect with those words, man, to make sure that you're removing that leaven of hypocrisy, out. Of course, we all have times where, you may, kind of get dull. Sharpen yourselves up with this brotherhood, sharpen yourselves up with this word, and kindle that fire back. Ask Yahweh Shah to restore, to kindle that fire back inside of you, man. Give you the spirit, to be more what you call it, active in this ministry. But with that, I think that's pretty much the point. With that, I hope you was edified. Till next time, DTA Baba Ball. Kwame Sharala, Shalom.